I really like these plastic palettes because they correspond almost to a color wheel. So when I arrange the palette that I like to generally use, I start by putting my cool clear yellow up at 12 o'clock. I skip a palette well, and I add my orange. And the palette well between these two colors suggests that there's some latitude for mixing and exploration of shades in between this reddish orange and the yellow itself. Skipping another palette well, I can add my magenta, and the space between implies that there are plenty of clean reds in between this magenta and this orange that can be mixed and explored. I skip a palette well and add my blue to my palette. There's room to explore shades of violet and violet blue, and there's room to the other side of the blue as I add my green, so that the colors in between these two hues can be experienced and explored as well. With 5 colors, I really have coverage over pretty much the complete spectrum. So this is why I like this arrangement and why these colors sit particularly well in this type of palette. These deep well palettes are inexpensive, easy to obtain, and something else I love is the depth of the wells lets me mix some really dilute washes of any particular color should I want. Now, of course, it would be very difficult to paint anything of much merit with these incredibly sticky and concentrated paints right out of the tube. That's just not how we use watercolor, even when we're trying to achieve the darkest values possible. So, I always add about 3 to 4 drops of water to each of these palette wells. This is why a pipette or dropper is never far from reach and always part of my painting kit, no matter what level of investment I might have in any particular project. I add 2 or 3 drops to each of these wells, and this will give me a fluid but dark mass tone of each of these colors. You can intermix the water thoroughly and create a wash, or you can just pick up mixes of water and paint as you go. There's plenty of room on the palette to make sure that you have a smooth mixture if you want it, and you can also have an inconsistent mix of water and paint. So this is how I set up my palette and the type of palette that I really find I work with the most often.